Welcome to Crafting a Winning Personal Statement and Resume/CV for Graduate Studies in the Social Sciences. My name is Jennifer Paulson, and I am a graduate of CSUB's Master of Arts program in History. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Richard Zamora, Assistant Professor of Psychology. Dr. Zamora is a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of California, and he teaches in CSUB's Masters of Science in Counseling Psychology program. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Zamora. Please turn on your camera and say hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Jennifer. And thanks to everyone who is joining us here today, and good afternoon. Welcome to our discussion and session about writing personal statements and CVs or resumes. And we're here to talk. So I hope people are ready to talk. Good. Okay. Let's see here. So I do have a PowerPoint for my presentation today. I just want to share with everyone that I intend this to be more interactive for us. So I encourage you all to just chat and ask questions and talk. Before I get started on my PowerPoint, I'd just like to hear from folks if you're okay with unmuting yourself and just letting me know what your name is, and perhaps give me some idea on what area in social sciences are you interested in or thinking about applying in grad school. This will help me better understand who my audience is right now. So if you're considering psychology, kinesiology, social work, sociology, anthropology, all those different wonderful areas in social sciences. So if you just don't mind unmuting yourself, let me know your name and what area in social sciences you're interested in. That would be very helpful.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jane, and I'm interested in psychology.
Thanks, Jane.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina, and I'm actually interested in an Indigenous Studies program at Arizona State University, but this session would be really helpful for that.
Wonderful, thanks. Anyone else would like to just briefly share your name and what area in social science you're interested in?
Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm interested in family and marriage counseling.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, I'm Odessa, and I'm interested in family and marriage counseling as well.
Awesome. Hey, Odessa. Hopefully, those who are interested in psychology and marriage and family counseling is considering our program here at CSUB. I think those are the folks I see on the participants list. So we can go ahead and move forward. Let me just share my screen here. Just a brief introduction on myself here, and Jennifer did a wonderful job in introducing me. Just a little bit more of a bio. So like Jennifer mentioned, I am an assistant professor in the Department of Psychology, licensed psychologist in the state of California. And let me move this around. I primarily teach in our counseling psych program, which makes students who graduate from our program are eligible to become licensed marriage and family therapists and licensed professional clinical counseling in the state of California. I do teach some of our undergraduate courses, but many of the courses I teach are towards our program. In addition to that, I do research with both undergraduate and graduate students, and primarily my research explores the different barriers and attitudes of people of color in accessing mental health. And in addition to that, I also do some research in understanding mental health, suicide, and understanding the experiences of LGBTQ plus folks, and looking at intersectionality and how the theory fits into how we connect and relate to other people. Okay, so that is me. Let's talk about personal statements, resumes, and CV, more specifically in social sciences. So some of you, or if not all of you, may have started looking at different programs that you're considering and applying for graduate school that are into social sciences field. You may have noticed that personal statement and statement of purpose as used interchangeably. And this can mean different things for different schools. But more specifically, when we think of personal statements, this is mostly more asking about your personal history, your personal experiences, who you are as a person, and things that describe you as a person, your personality, your skills, and who you are. And when we think of statement of purpose, it's a little bit different. And this mainly talks more about your motivations and focusing more on your academic experiences that some schools might be looking for, and why you're applying to their program, to their school. And sometimes programs will ask a combination of both. They want to know your academic history, they want to know your research interests, they want to know your experiences academically, and also they want to know who you are as a person. One thing that I want you all to think about when you write your personal statement and statement of purpose is to really consider what is the program looking for, and how can you tailor and fit your personal statement of purpose for the program you're applying for. So really understanding what is being asked of you and what is the program wants in terms of writing this. So understanding the difference between personal statements and statement of purpose. And again, you can find this, if you can't find this in their program website and their application process, it might be good to clarify this, who's the program director and the faculty that can be contacted. But really understanding what the program's looking for, what they want, and what they need. And like I mentioned earlier, it's really important to tailor it and to the fit of the school and the program you're applying for. So what that means is looking at the program philosophy, their training modality, what kind of courses do they offer for their graduate program, and really thinking about how they train their students, how they work with their students, how their courses really complements what you're looking for in the program. So making it look like, hey, this is what my purpose is, this is my personal experiences, this is who I am as a person, and I see that your program is looking for all these things, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I would like to pursue. So it's really important to do your own research, what the program is about, and what they're looking for, and what do they want in terms of reading your personal statements and your statement of purpose. I want to highlight that this is your opportunity to talk about who you are, but also to let the program know who you are as a person and your skills and what you can offer. Remember that many of these programs you're applying to, and maybe you've met with some of the faculty if you're applying locally, and you've worked with some of the faculty in the program. However, if you're applying to other schools where you haven't met any of the faculty and you haven't really worked with any of them, and you don't know them personally, this is your first opportunity to really introduce who you are. So, without knowing who you are and without meeting you, this is as a faculty and as a person who reviews these type of application, this is your first opportunity and my first read in understanding who you are as a person. So I really want to highlight the importance of that, because think of it as you're introducing yourself to a stranger who is reading this and looking at your overall application, but really want to get to know who you are as a person and what you can offer to the program. So really think about it that way as you write and you start working on your personal statement and your statement of purpose. So there's different ways to approach writing your personal statement and your statement of purpose. And we're going to talk about some of these things. And I just really want to emphasize that sometimes program will have specific questions that they want to address in your personal statement. And sometimes they leave it more vague. And there's really not enough information or specific questions that they're asking you to write about. So I want you to think about this as a part of the process when you're learning what the program's looking for. And I'm gonna, in my next slide here, I put some ways, some examples of questions that schools are looking for. But start to think about, what are your goals and motivations for graduate school? Why do you want to go to grad school? And why are you interested in attending graduate school? As a faculty member, I do know that, also going through grad school myself, that there are different motivations and goals why we want to go to grad school. And going to grad school is a commitment. And we really want to understand why you want to go to grad school and how can our program and how can graduate school help you reach your goals and what's motivating you to attend graduate school. More specifically, you can also tailor this by really understanding and communicating in your statements, what are you interested in this field of study? Why do you want to know more about psychology? Why do you want to pursue a graduate degree in counseling? Why do you want to pursue a graduate degree in Indigenous studies? So really understanding what makes you interested in this field and why are you pursuing an advanced degree? Are there specific courses that you've taken that made you interested to pursue and learn more? Are there specific theories or topics of interest that are related to your undergraduate studies that made you more interested in pursuing grad school and advanced degrees? Why are you interested in this study? Are there personal experiences or skill sets that you have that makes you really qualified and a good fit and a good match for this field of study, for this area that you want to pursue? So really writing about these things can help a faculty member, someone who's reviewing your application, what makes you interested? And we know that if people are interested in this field of study, this helps folks to be more motivated in what they're studying and what they're doing. So really thinking about, those early introduction classes that you've taken, maybe specific courses that you're currently taking, a theory that you read about, that you want to learn more about. Going to grad school is a commitment, but also it's an advanced way to better understand and to expand your knowledge on this particular topic or area of study. Maybe you read a research article in one of your courses that you want to learn more about it, and the specific program that you're applying to trains you to better understand this phenomena or trains you to better understand this concept or theory that you're interested in. And lastly, I really want to also emphasize, why are you interested in this field of study now? Why do you want to go to grad school now? So sometimes folks take break between undergrad and grad school. Sometimes the break tends to be longer, and some folks, sometimes they don't take a break. They go directly from undergrad to grad school, whether that be master's or a doctoral program. But really emphasizing, why do you want to do this now? Are there specific current events that maybe have helped you to pursue or think about pursuing grad school or attending grad school? Are there any current life events or experiences that you're going through that perhaps motivating you to go to grad school, and really communicating and writing about why now, and what is it about now that's motivating for you to pursue this advanced degree? So as you can see in this slide, I'm really focusing on your interest, your goals, your motivation, and really better understanding why now. Okay, Let me just check the chat here. I see there's no questions so far. Again, feel free to just type in your questions in the chat and I'll monitor this. And I think Jennifer is going to help me monitor the chat
Yes,
box too.
absolutely.
So, okay, next slide. So let me give you some examples. More specifically, this comes from our MS in Counseling Psych program here at CSUB. And I also put the next 4 bullet points here are also from the master's program in social work here at CSUB, which is also in social sciences. So these are just examples of 2 programs that we have here at CSUB that have specific questions that they want you to address in your personal statement and your statement of purpose. For example, in our CPSY program, we leave it pretty vague. A personal statement including your goals, your objectives for entering the mental health field, as well as your experiences and skills. That's all we have on our website, and that's what we look for in your personal statement. So you can be very specific here as the things we've already talked about previously in my slide. How does your goals and your objectives fits with the mental health field? What experiences and skills you have that makes you a good fit for our program and the mental health field. And as you can see, we say personal statement, but also we ask for your experiences and skills related to the mental health field. So it's a combination of your purpose and your goals and motivation for entering this field, but also who you are as a person that helps us better understand how you are a good fit in the mental health field and more specifically in our program. The next 4 bullet points here are from the social work program here at CSUB, the MSW. And I'll just read some of the things that they look for in their personal statements. They're more specific in what they're looking for. They want you to talk about academic, professional factors, experiences to influence to pursue a master's degree in social work. Talk about your commitment and your career goals to social change or social justice, your interest in social work, including maybe specific populations you want to work with, and then specific reasons why you want to go to CSUB Department of Social Work and how you're a good fit for your educational and professional goals. I want to highlight when we say fit here, we're talking about it's not just who you are as a person and what you can offer to the program and to the field, but also how can this program help train you to reach your goals and your career aspirations. And an example of that is maybe this program trains you to be a specific trains you to work with specific population. Maybe there are programs out there that trains you to provide therapy, clinical services in a different language that you're fluent and you want to do. Maybe this program trains you to work with a specific disorder that you want to work with. And that's something that you want to do as a career. Maybe this program has specific courses that will help you better understand your research interests in working with Indigenous populations or doing research in Indigenous studies. So think about not only what you offer and your goals, but also think about and really learn what this program offers their students and how they train their students. What's their program philosophy? What's their training modality? And how does this program can help you reach your goals? Are there specific faculty that you want to work with because of their experiences? Are there specific licensure that the faculty have that you're also interested in working and pursuing? Are there specific trainings that or certification that the program offers that will help you reach your goals? So when we talk about fit here, we're talking about what you offer and also what the program offers and how do they go together in reaching your goals and your academic aspirations and your career, what you want to do after you get your degree. So really thinking about this can help your personal statement stand out with the rest of the folks, right? This will also help readers like myself, faculty, people in the admissions committee, to really say, if we admit the student, they're going to be successful here because we're providing them the training and the opportunities and the modalities that they're looking for in a graduate program, but also what they want to do after they graduate. Meaning we can support the student. They can be successful here. So it's a really good way to think about being more mindful and doing your own research on specific programs that you're looking for, because that's going to be important in writing your personal statement. And that's also going to be important in acquiring an interview if the program does an interview process and or admission to the program. So I want you all to think about that. And while you're writing, as they ask you these things and writing your personal statement, one of the things that you all can also emphasize is, how are you qualified to be in this field, in this program? What qualifications you have? Are there specific trainings that you've done as an undergrad that makes you qualified for this program? Are there specific work experiences that you've received that makes you qualified for this program in this field? So highlight also your qualifications based on your experiences and possibly your potential professional contributions. What can you offer the field? What can you offer the program? And what are some things that professionally you might be able to contribute into our field? So really highlighting those things and better understanding your overall self and how you can put that in a personal statement and a statement of purpose. I know it's a lot. It's probably hard to talk about our whole self in 2-3 pages, right? So I'll get more into that in a couple of slides, but I want you all to just think about that. Let's see the time here. Just want to check on the time. Okay. Just really quick, I'm curious if there's any questions so far and what I've talked about.
We do have a question that came to me directly, Dr. Zamora, and it might be something that you're going to touch on soon, but sorry, you can hear my bird. This person is saying, I've always found it difficult to write about myself. I have both life and academic experiences to write about, but I struggle with what to include and what not to include.
Great question. So one example I can think of, and this is more specific to the mental health field. So think about how this might apply to in other fields. As I know, we have a couple of students here who may not be applying the mental health field. You want to have a good balance of your personal experiences and sharing your own experiences in the mental health field. So for example, perhaps you've struggled with something in your life that made you become motivated to pursue a degree, advanced degree in the mental health field. Sharing the story and that part of yourself is going to be crucial and helpful. And what I look for is, how is this experience helpful in terms of understanding why you want to get in this field? So not just share it, but expand on and relate it to, hey, I've struggled with depression in my life, and this is how I worked on it. I went to therapy myself, and I realized that was very helpful, and it really motivated me to also help others. And now I wanna do this. I want to pursue this area in this field. So when you have personal experiences that you want to share, what I look for when I review these applications is how these experiences shape who you are, but also how is this experience that you're sharing related to the field and what you're applying for, and how have you worked on it, right? So it's one thing to share all your experiences, but it's also a deeper level to share your experiences and better communicating and writing about how is this experience helpful in understanding who you are and what's behind this and your motivation to pursue this graduate degree. So really find a good balance of sharing experiences that are very personal to you, but relating it to the field, the degree, the program that you're applying for. So there has to be a connection, right? We think about the fit. How is this experience fits in to your goals and to what you want to do in this program? And not just share it, but explain why you're sharing it and how this makes me, for me, as I read it, how does make this experience helps me understand that this was a great or a motivating factor for you to get into the field. So, and I shared that, think about too also the different identities that you hold and who you are as a person. So it may not be just experiences too, but it could be, you know, let's say as maybe your own personal social identities have led you to pursue this research study or work with this specific population. So those are also things that you can share and talk about in your personal statement. Like maybe you have a relationship with the indigenous communities and population. Maybe you're part of that community and this is why you want to help this community or pursue this research or pursue this program. So there has to be a relationship in sharing the experience and to what the programs fit and what they're looking for. Other questions?
That was a great response. No other questions as of yet, unless we have some participants who would like to unmute and ask or put them in the chat.
Okay, maybe not yet. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So just a couple more tips for you all as you think about, and I've covered many of this already and as I was talking. When we think about resumes and CVs, and I have a slide on this and I'll talk more specifically what these two things are and how they're different. But just so to complement our conversation about personal statements and statement of purpose, remember in your personal statement, you're sharing yourself to the readers in your statement of purpose. And remember that you also you're going to submit a CV, curriculum vitae, or a resume along with your application, your personal statement. So as a person, as a faculty member who reviews application, I will look at your CV and your resume and I will review that. And what I want to emphasize here is that you don't want to just repeat everything on your CV and your resume and your personal statement. What's helpful is to highlight some of the things in your CV and your resume and expand it in your personal statement or your statement of purpose. Perhaps there's something in your CV or resume that clearly is related to the program you're applying for. That might be a good part in your personal statement where you can expand a little bit more on that. Not just state your experience of, I've worked as a peer counselor in a mental health setting. Okay, well, I know you've worked there because it's in your CV or your resume, but what did you do exactly working there that you can expand on in your personal statement? So highlighting one or two things in your CV or resume that you can expand on in your personal statement. So not just repeating it, because you know we're going to read it, you know you're going to submit it, it's on there. So you don't just repeat it. Make sure to expand on it and to tell us a little bit more about that specific experience or item in your CV or in your resume. I always I always advise students to really have a clear way to communicate and write and organize your personal statement. And what I mean by that is, think about your ways in writing papers, right? How do you organize it? Do you make an outline? Do you think of different phrases that will help you start to write your paragraph? So how can you keep this organized and that there is a clear flow in your personal statement and your statement of purpose? So just making sure that there's some organization in there. Use professional language, absolutely. And part of what we look for in personal statements is also your intellectual maturity, right? What kind of words or verbiage are you using in your personal statement and your statement of purpose, and really communicating professionalism in this process. Okay, so here are some tips in getting started. Thinking about some ways that you can start thinking about now that you can use and as you get started in this process is, how did your interest develop over time? Perhaps how did you choose your major in undergrad, right? We're applying to grad school here. So what made you, your undergrad degree may not be the same area or degree that you're pursuing for grad school. So, and that's possible. Like, for example, in our Master's in Counseling Psych program, we don't require students to have a bachelor's degree in psychology. You can have a bachelor's degree in different areas. And as a matter of fact, we admit students who have different backgrounds in our program. And that's probably similar in other programs too. But how did your interest in this field develop over time, even if you didn't pursue that as your undergrad? So we want to know how does this interest develop over time, and how did you get here to applying to this program? Are there any work or experiences or projects that are related to the field or discipline? So it may not be your major, it may not be your undergrad degree or undergrad experience, but are there any projects that you've worked on or work experience that's directly related to the field or discipline you're applying for? Any applied experience that you've had or research experience that you've had with faculty as an undergrad on certain topics, certain type of research modalities, maybe a research question that you have and you want to pursue in grad school. Maybe there's a research study that you read that really stood out to you, that makes you want to learn more and better understand this area in grad school. So really reflecting on your experiences, applied experiences in the field, but also your applied research experience in the field. Think about what your expectations are for a program, for experiences, for a degree and a career. Can this program meet my expectations, right? Does this program offer this class or these two classes that I know that I'm gonna need to work in this field? Does this program offers experiences that I'm looking for and that will help me be more competitive in the career that I'm going into? Lastly, I really want to highlight here is also your unique experiences and contributions and personality traits. Part of what you're doing when you're writing a personal statement and statement of purpose is to stand out in comparison to the other applicants. So in our graduate program in counseling psych, we typically get somewhere between 80 to 110 applications for somewhere between 15 to 20 slots. So that's a lot of applications to review. And it's really important how unique you are and how you can highlight who you are and how you can stand out from the rest of the applicants. This can mean maybe you speak different languages. Maybe there's a specific advanced skill that you have or a personality trait that has helped you navigate your academic experiences. Maybe you have specific contributions to the field that not many people do experience. So again, I want to highlight how personal this is, but also what you believe your unique experiences, contributions, and personality traits that contributes to the field and that makes you stand out to the rest of the applicants. Questions so far, if there's any.
With no additional comments in the chat, does anyone feel like they want to unmute, ask a question or comment?
We're doing good in time.
Yeah, we're doing good on time.
Okay, excellent. I'll continue here and I'll let you all process this information and maybe generate some questions as we continue to chat. Let's see, next slide. Okay. Here's the most important part of this process that will really strengthen your personal statement and your statement of purpose. Review, revise, edit, and ask for feedback. Whether that would be a writing center, just getting your personal statement grammatically correct, organized, using punctuations and sentence structure. Does it make sense? Is there a flow? Really reviewing it and going through the review process of editing, revising after feedback, after feedback, after feedback. Ask for feedback from your mentors, your undergraduate professors, your letter writers. I know previously folks were talking about before this session. There was a session about letter writers and recommendation letters, letter references. So those people can help you in reviewing and revising your personal statement. And I do this. I offer this to my mentees and to my advisees. And for folks who I actually request letters from me, I ask them to, can you send me your draft of your personal statement? And even if it's not finalized or just an outline of your personal statement. In me writing the letter, I also provide some feedback on their personal statement and how they can improve that. So really asking for help and have a different set of eyes to take a look at this. Because I imagine, I don't know for you all, but for me, writing isn't my strength. So I have to spend a lot of time writing. I have to spend a lot of time reviewing and editing it. And I still have to spend a lot of time reading it again and reviewing it again and editing it again. And then before I even send it to ask for feedback from others. So what is your process when you write? Really knowing your process in this, and don't be shy to ask for feedback. And I think sometimes it's really helpful to also ask for feedback for people outside your field and your area of study. Does this make sense for someone who's not in psychology? Does this make sense for someone who is not in education? Really trying to incorporate feedback from different set of eyes. And when you get feedback, at least for me, I always encourage students you don't have to accept all my feedback. Take what makes sense to you. Improve your personal statement, your statement of purpose, and incorporate the feedback you receive based on what fits for you, right? Because ultimately, this is your personal statement, not who's the one reading and providing feedback. So take the feedback in terms of how does this fit to what you're writing and what you're talking about. And don't be shy. And this will only help you improve and get a better, stronger personal statement and statement of purpose. I can tell you in many years of me reviewing applications and reading hundreds of these personal statements that I can tell the difference between somebody who didn't spend a lot of time editing and reviewing their personal statement to somebody who clearly spent a lot of time revising it. And one way is that even just like for minor typos or misspelled words, and believe me, I've read, reviewed, edited papers that I wrote, and it looks like there's no misspelled words. And I forward it to somebody to read it, and they're like, hey, these are misspelled words and or grammatically incorrect. So there's a lot of things that we may not be able to see, and maybe we need to take a break after reading it so many times that another pair or set of eyes can help in that process. So really understands. Thanks, Jennifer, for sharing that. Yeah, really understanding, you know, that a fresh set of eyes can just be helpful to just even look at what you wrote, because after so many times you read and you know, reviewed it and edited it, there might be some things that you're no longer seeing that are still there. So really help to have those fresh set of eyes. Ask your classmate and your peer to review this. You know, another way to ask for feedback is maybe there's somebody in the program that you know, a current student. Ask them to review it and help with that. So there's a lot of ways to get feedback and lots of different people. And I really encourage you all to do that as part of your process in writing your personal statement and your statement of purpose. Questions about this part or so far in what we've talked about? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, this has all been really, really great information. And I'm actually in the process of writing my personal statement, and it's for a program. Actually, I just realized that I'm actually even probably in the wrong breakout room. It's through Arizona State University, and it's a master's in Indigenous education. So basically what it is a program that creates more of an understanding of the differences between Western forms of education and Indigenous forms of education, and how they converge and how they, diverge, and also on how to properly conduct research in tribal communities. So that I am an Indigenous myself. And so that information to me is relevant to me and in, what I would like to pursue in the future. And plus, I probably should add, I'm also an employee at the CSUB campus. So, in my personal experience, I'm actually in the process of conducting research right now with a couple of Indigenous communities here with another faculty member. So my experience so far, and this is why I'm kind of driven to this program, is because in my own experience, in my research experience, I've noticed that there isn't, that knowledge base of conducting research, with Indigenous communities. You go through the IRB process, but it doesn't teach you anything about that. And I want to be that change agent. I want to bring that education to campus somehow. So, I'm kind of struggling in writing my personal statement and trying to communicate that, I guess, because there isn't a specific position on campus, for that. There isn't a specific, department on campus that that relates to that. So I'm kind of, it's kind of going to be in vague terms, like this is what I would like to do with that, degree, but there isn't anything on my campus that right now that is suited to that. So I'm struggling to kind of be more specific about what it is I want to do that would, connect with the program, I guess.
Yes. Christina, and this is also for, let me just make sure. Christina, you're the one asking the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So for you and for also for the rest of our audience here, I actually would really encourage you all to reach out to faculty from the programs that you want to apply to. And, sending a quick email of, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm really interested in your program. This is where I'm at right now in my process. And I just want to introduce myself and would like to know if there's any tips or information that you might tell a potential applicant in your program that will help them be a stronger applicant. And in addition to that, it would be very helpful for you to say one or two things that you know about the program. Hey, Dr. So-and-so, I've read this on your website. I'm wondering if you can expand a little bit more about this, how it fits in your program, and this is what I want to do. And it sounds like this could be related. So Christina, don't be afraid to reach out to other faculty in other schools that maybe you found something similar to what you're pursuing and what you're doing. And if there isn't anything, like you're looking for something really specific, think of something a little bit more broader and highlight that, look, this is how it looks like in a broader sense. And this is where I'm at and where I want to go specifically, why there's a lack of research or lack of modalities and how we do this with Indigenous populations. And you can be that person. And how can this program help you be that person?
Okay.
So that's one way to understand that lack, because part of somebody who's reviewing application is that if you're telling me that this is a lack in the field and in the program and you want to bridge that gap, I would be very interested in having you as a student, because you're recognizing that this is a need and you're interested in fulfilling that gap. So I actually would see that as a strength that you offer in your application, because there isn't much. And the process of that is, highlighting what is out there and highlighting how you want to bridge that gap.
Okay.
Does that
Thank you
help?
so much. Yes,
Yeah,
that
you're
helped.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? And thanks for the question. Okay. And Christina, just so you also know, it's hard to do research with Indigenous population, even in the mental health field, and the whole IRB process, and there isn't really a protocol, at least in the mental health field, on what are the best practices in conducting research with Indigenous populations and even providing clinical services. So there is a need. So I'm glad that there's somebody like you who is interested in making that better and helping with that process.
Thank you. That's what I hope to do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So I think this is the last slide I have before like Q&A, because I did make some time for that. And I just want to, I guess for me, there isn't, I'll highlight some of the things that makes your resume and CV strong, but there isn't really a formula for this, because you can Google CVs and resumes and everybody will have their own format. And often students will ask me, what is the right format for a resume? What is the right format for a CV? And I always just say, well, just look at different examples. I share my CVs to students if they want an example of me, of mine, but I also highlight that yours aren't going to look like this because I have a lot of experiences. So, just so to really expose yourself to the different ways of how people write this and the different formatting, and then figure out what looks good to you, what feels good to you. So I just want to let you all know that there are standards that what we look for in your resume and CV and your information, but as far as the order, where you put this, where you put that, it really varies field by field. And sometimes that varies person by person too, and then the type of field you're applying. So just to quickly, the difference between resume and CV, at least how I understand this and how I talk about this, is that resumes are typically shorter in length and more concise version of your skills and qualification. Resumes are typically somewhere between 1 to 2 pages. And I think it's more emphasized to have it in 1 page. And typically resumes are asked for you in more applied settings and work settings. And when we think of CVs, also known as curriculum vitae, this is more a detailed information of your academic skills, academic experiences, academic qualifications, and usually longer when compared to a resume. This can vary from 2, 3, 5 pages to 15 to 20 pages, depending where you're at in your career. So some highlights of things that you want to just make sure, what is the program asking of you? Are they asking for a resume or a CV? Or are they saying you can submit a resume and a CV? Or are they making you choose submit a resume or a CV? So really just looking at what they're asking for is going to be key on how you want to tailor this to the program. But I think of CV as more academic. So think of your research experiences, research presentations. Maybe there's a publication or two that you had with a faculty or with other peers. Any research collaboration, grants that you've received, scholarships that you've received, organizations that you've been a part of. Like for example, in psychology, we have PsyChi as our national honor society. Maybe in your field, there's also different honor societies and things like that. One big thing for me when I review CVs and resume, I look for consistency. So what I mean by that is, think about what things do you bold in your resumes or CV? What are things that are italicized? Do you use bullet points? Do you use complete sentences? Do you put a period in your description of your stuff? So really just being consistent throughout the document is going to be helpful in this process. And looking at, are you using 5 different fonts, right? Or is it one font for the entire document? So things like that are gonna make it more organized, easy to understand, and helpful for the readers who are reviewing this. And all of this, your personal statements, your CVs and resume, remember that we're all we're reviewing hundreds of this. So the more you can personalize it, make it organized, make it consistent, it's going to be helpful to the reader. So, and I think that is all I have. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Zamora. That was fantastic. A lot of good information there. So
thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Zamora.